Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'll give you a small presentation because last time I was here, I did promise and I did mention that we are working on a project of fitting rotor sails on board our ship, one of our ships, big ships, a 400,000 tonner bulker. And that project is now up and running and the ship is actually sailing. So I'll take you through the project quickly. It's like as a case study. So the ship that you see, it's Sahar Max, 400,000 ton bulk carrier, and it operates mainly between China and Brazil, and between Brazil and Oman in Sahar. And it mainly carries iron ore. So that is how we wanted to start the project. A very small video to see. That was basically the Sahar engine. As you could see, it's retractable rotor sail. We fitted 5 of them on board this ship, and it was with collaboration. Again, as Shihab said before, this is not a solo journey. Sustainability is actually a collaboration. So we did collaborate with 2 different bodies, including that is in terms of investment, and including as well as the other classification societies and the flag state. So when it comes to this solution, we think it's a smart solution. Again, it's not the most perfect solution, and we are not here to look for perfection, because if we want to start, we need to start small, maybe smart, but then we should not wait for the moment where the technology is perfect, because it's not going to happen at all. Not now, not in 50 years' time. And we see that the rotor sails, basically, they allows us to use the wind to move our ships with higher speed, lower fuel cost, and less emission. And it also gives us a consistent performance, whether the ship is on ballast voyage or on a laden voyage. So in both cases, we noticed that, and we'll come to the details at a later stage. We've noticed that the performance of the ship was consistent throughout. And of course, there was an integration, especially for this particular solution. The integration was with the other ship equipment was quite seamless. Of course, we did face some challenges, but these challenges were small. And as with any other project, you will always find challenges. Otherwise, you don't call it a project. And of course, it is a reliable technology. We've seen it. We've worked with it. Now the ship has been running for almost more than 9 months. In and out. It's now in her 4th voyage, after the system has been installed on board. And to date, we think that it was a good decision, and the investment itself was actually justified. And again, why we wanted to unlock this fuel efficiency method. It's basically, of course, from a regulatory point of view, we want to be in compliance, but we also want to be competitive. Again, I'm referring to my friends here when they speak about it. It's not just only about being competitive, but also to be compliant, and also to walk the talk. When you promise on something, you deliver. And also, we wanted to use we are blessed with a lot of natural resources. Why not use them? Of course, and this is in terms of emission. I mean, nobody can argue that such a solution will result in low emission. And this is what we have seen. We will come to the results towards the end of this presentation, where it will tell us how much we have achieved so far. The voyage itself, in terms of performance, it was good throughout, in and out. When I say in and out, it's basically during the voyage as well as through the laden voyage. The learning was great. The crew were very much familiar with the system. It didn't take a long time for them to capture how the system works and how it can be dealt with. Very seamless and smooth system that it was put on board. And of course, we've noticed that there's a noticeable fuel consumption in terms of reduction of fuel consumption, and also a noticeable increase in the ship's efficiency. Then, installation process and challenges. As I said, they'll always find some opportunities and challenges. So the project itself, we did a preparation for about 6 months. As I said, we collaborated with Anemoy, the makers. We collaborated with the Charter Valley from Brazil, as well as the classification societies and the flag state. And we did the engineering with the shipyard, and everything was done. And we tried to cover as much as possible. And eventually, we did, at one point of time, alter the drawings, because we've noticed that the ship had to have some sort of maybe structural strengthening. In terms of transportation, as you could see it in the video itself, these are big items, big structures. You can't just transport them. Though they are big, but they are also quite fragile and soft. So they needed to be transported in care as everything else. We need to look after everything we do in our life. And these giant structures are no different. We did the structural reinforcement nicely. We commissioned and tested. We had a team sailing with the ship in its maiden voyage to basically find out if there's anything that needs to be done, and if there's any support that needs to be given to the ship staff throughout the first maiden voyage. This video was actually captured by one of the ship staff when the engine was completely down. So we did not start the engine, it's just only the generators were running on board. And we had 3 knots of current, supporting currents, and the ship was doing between 6.5 to 7 knots at 0 engine, no engine.
All 5 rotor sails are running at maximum and idle wind condition, and vessel is moving at 6.5 knots with 3 knots current and without engine. So we are trying without engine at idle condition at full RPM. RT is running at full RPM.
So you could see that the ship was actually moving even with no engine, 0. So there was no fuel consumption on board at that stage except for the generators. And yet the ship was making between 6.5 to 7 knots. And that is how much we wanted to have at that stage. So now looking at the results.
1 minute, Ibrahim.
Yes, 1 minute, okay. Looking at the results, I'm done. So you should see it in front of you. We've saved a lot in terms of the distance was the same, of course, more or less. But then the fuel consumption was less. There was a saving in the ballast voyage by about 473 metric ton. On the laden voyage, 784 tons, and that is because we took a longer voyage on the laden voyage. So there was a saving. Then when it comes to the total saving in terms of CO2, about 4,000 tons. That is in one voyage. 4,000 tons of CO2 was saved. Efficiency gain was 6.5%. And in the first voyage, in and out, the laden and ballast voyage, there was a saving in terms of fuel consumption around $570,000. Let me just put it like this. The project itself cost us about $5 million. So we just need to do 10 voyages or nine voyages, and we will get the money back. So we've already done 3 more next year. And by year 2027, we should have the system running with basically net profit. And we believe this is a strong case. Again, I must say that there's a lot of other technologies there, but then we need to make a start, and we made it. So with that being said, I finished my presentation just to keep the timing. And if you want to just, I was just speaking on you. Thank you very much.